Sup, bitch. So, I made another Celestials hero, and this time his name is Whipmaster. So, Whipmaster over here, I know it looks a bit strange to call him Whipmaster and this whole deal, but basically he's a magic character and his attacks all revolve around his whip. So he basically has a magic whip that lets him extend it and lets it magically get shorter whenever he wants. And so basically, this guy is an absolute demon on the battlefield when it comes to using his whip. So if you've seen one of those YouTube videos where someone uses like a whip or something, and you've seen what they can do with the right techniques, you'll know that this is actually a pretty viable weapon. And so I thought it'd be cool to make like a cool handsome character with like a whip as a weapon that looks like all fancy and stuff. And so basically, you can tell like the whip is his whole thing, as the name would suggest. So not only is his whip really strong, because it's like a magic whip, it's much stronger, it can extend and get shorter magically, but he's also just really good with it, as the name would suggest. So you could imagine if Celestials was like an actual animated TV show, and this guy came on screen or something. Theoretically saying, I wouldn't actually put this in the show because that would be a bit too overpowered, but theoretically speaking, you could probably decapitate like 3 guys from 20 meters away. But instead of that, I would probably make it so that like they get heavily sliced up in their face instead of getting decapitated or something. But I think you get the idea. So you could imagine you're like from 20 meters standing away from this guy. He magically extends his whip, starts like doing a full 360, and then just whips it at you full power in your face. There's like a flake of skin, just a patch of skin that just jumps off your face. There's like blood everywhere and stuff. So you can imagine like this guy would leave some nasty scars on you. And you could imagine all sorts of variations he could do with his attacks. So the basic premise is pretty simple. He just whips you. But then you could think of like all the interesting things he could do with it. He could... I just also think it's really cool. Like just the idea of just whoosh, and then just the villain's face is like sliced up. I just really like the idea of that, even though it's pretty simple. And so, for example, he could whip you just the simple way, just whoosh, from afar, from close up, whatever, like medium range. He could like whip you in the knee so hard that like your knee like basically breaks and like goes in the other way or something. He could like whip you in the eyes, like literally slice your eyes out. He could whip you in the neck, make your neck bleed out and die. He could whip an arm off. He could maybe like whip your fingers off. He could just whip you really fast and really hard, so that there's like there's a lot of like slices and you start dying from blood loss or something. You could maybe even grab like your items out of your hand. Wait, is that it? Yeah, I think that's a pretty cool idea. You can maybe even steal like weapons out of your hands or something by like wrapping the whip around it, and then maybe it starts swinging with the thing when it's like holding a knife, and it starts cutting up everyone. So pretty cool. And then there was this one move that I really liked the idea of. So imagine there's like a bunch of villains or like criminals standing around him, right? And they're all like coming in his way. They're like a bit far away. So he magically extends his whip, like I said. And then he starts like spinning it around in a 360 around him, right? But that's not the attack yet. He starts charging it basically up, getting his technique right, and then when everything's like in place, the whip starts like even going in the air and stuff. And it starts like spreading out everywhere. If you've seen, I was actually inspired to make this character because of Castlevania, since it came into Dead by Daylight, because like the Belmonts, those characters also have like whips with really cool attacks, and so I was kind of inspired by that to make this guy. And so basically, once the whip is like spread around the area everywhere, you can imagine it's like really long now. It's like dangling everywhere in the air when he's like doing a 360. And that's just when he goes beast mode. So you can imagine he just starts whipping, and just like each little like part of the whip, because it's so long, now starts individually like whipping like in every angle. So now you can imagine, because it's like a magic whip and stuff, now everyone around him is like getting sliced up and like whipped from every angle. There's like little parts everywhere going like whoosh, whoosh, like against the wall and stuff. So it'd be pretty funny. It's a bit hard to explain, but I think you get the idea. Like just this giant like rope of whip like around him everywhere in the air, like below him, and it's like all like whip cracking everywhere. If you know, you probably know what a whip crack is like when you do the whoosh and like it makes the sound. So yeah, just thought it'd be pretty funny if he would be able to do that. And like I said, this guy's an absolute monster with his whip on the battlefield. So he just looks pretty simple for a human, but his whip is really strong, especially with his mastery of the weapon. Oh yeah, also, real quick, go to the link in the description to support me on Patreon. And just in general, it just seems like a really funny idea to have like a hero that's like standing from afar. He's like dressed up in a fancy suit. He sees like a bunch of bad guys coming. He charges up his whip, and just from afar, he's just like whoosh, and just whips them in the face. Yeah, I think he'd be pretty cool. Maybe he could also do like a front flip and like whip you that way or something. Maybe on the ground, he could lay his whip on the ground, and then like if you've seen those videos videos of like people who have like this giant metal whip on the ground with like chains, maybe he could do the same thing where he lays it on the ground and just like whips it. But then the whip, the kinetic energy of the whip basically like travels for a bit, and then it releases a really hard whip onto like the knees of like I meant the ankles of like a criminal in the distance. So maybe he could just whip their ankles so hard that they fall to the ground or something, and and they can't walk anymore. What other things can he maybe do? Yeah, just a lot of different like techniques of attacks with his whip. I'm not like a pro on like fighting techniques or something, but you could imagine like if this guy came on screen in like an actual battle, he'd do a lot of fancy tricks. Maybe he'd even do like a crisscross with his whip. So it'd go like this, and then it'd go like this, and because the whip is so long, it can whip with like multiple parts. And so then he'd be able to slice like a crisscross on someone's face or something. I just think it's a really cool but simple idea. So I think you get the gist of it, but I really wanted to emphasize because I've noticed, because I sometimes talk a little bit quiet in my previous videos, because most of the times people are still sleeping in the house because I record early in the morning. But I really wanted to emphasize on this one how strong this character is. Because I think with like Nitro or something, I didn't do that enough until you realize that Nitro is like a ghost that like can sneak up on you and like eat you up whole. And so yeah, I really want to say like this guy would be an absolute monster in combat. He would just start fucking people up from like 20 meters away. It'd be insane. Yeah, and also did I forget to mention, if you try to get closer to him, because you'd think that would be a good counter against him, then he would just whip you with his tiny whip. I know I'm not talking about his penis. Basically, underneath this white fancy suit, he has a belt where he puts this whip. And then on the other side, he also has a tiny whip. So if you get close to him, then he pulls out his other tiny whip with you have different kinds of whips, right? So this is like a basic, simple like whip, just a regular type. And then he would pull out a tiny whip, and it's like really short. And then it has like multiple ropes with like dangling on it, with like metal balls maybe or something on it. So you can tell that would be pretty devastating as well from up close. You just get a tiny whip and just whoosh in your face with like metal balls. Oh wait, there's spit on my screen now. Damn it. But yeah, I think you get the idea. Oh wait, I just noticed this video is already almost 10 minutes long, and I've mostly been talking about this whip. Whoopsie daisy. And when I say whipping, I wouldn't really mean like whipping black people. I mean as in like he would use the whip in combat, to re-emphasize. Okay, I think you get most of his attacks now, so since this video is almost 10 minutes long already, let's go over his backstory. So pretty simple. Maybe this guy's name would be like John Andelas or something, for example. It's just a quick name I made up, John Andelas or something. And so basically his backstory is that this guy is like a really rich guy that comes from a really famous rich family. And the way they got rich is like it was passed on throughout the generations because they've been rich and like famous for a long time. But it started out with like selling land and maybe because we're talking about like previously, like generations earlier, they would have maybe done a little bit of slavery because of like the whole whip thing. But then this guy, this John dude, he would also keep on doing the whole selling land thing and stuff to keep his riches. But for just to re-emphasize, this guy would not do slavery. But after that, he would want to, after like years of spending time in like that whole business and economies type of thing, he would want to switch over to something a bit more fierce. He'd want to go heavy in like combat. So he joined the hero force. He would want to go professional in like being a hero, and then he would use this whip as a weapon. And maybe this could be like some magic whip that was passed down the family, because a big part of a story would be that they're like a rich family. Like for them it's kind of like Fast and the Furious, like family is everything kind of type of vibe. I think you get the idea. And maybe like this whip would be passed down throughout the generations or something, kind of like the Belmonts in Castlevania, if you know anything about that. And I think for his backstory, that's mostly it. It's pretty simple. And then for his character design, so I really wanted to go all out on the white rich guy type of vibe. And I feel like this would be the type of guy. He wouldn't actually do slavery, but maybe once here and there he would throw in a slavery joke when he's using his whip or something with his friends, with like this other hero friends near him, because I just thought it'd be really funny to have like this rich white guy with a whip, and don't cancel me, okay? I just freedom of speech. I just really like this idea. And so basically, you can tell he's rocking like an all white fancy suit. And so here he has like a little pocket with like a handkerchief. Then he, yeah, I really went out all white. I was thinking of maybe doing the t-shirt in like gold or something, the t-shirt underneath. But I thought like I just want to go white. And you would say like, why didn't you make the suit black? It looks better most of the times. Well, I actually prefer white over black in a lot of these type of scenarios, and I just thought it would look really just nice to have a full white suit instead of like a black suit. And no, that was not a racist decision. I just prefer the color more. There's a lot of racism in this video, isn't there? So full white suit with a white, I forgot the English word, a white tie, like yeah, like the thing around his neck, a white t-shirt underneath, and then if you'll pay close attention, there are like gold accents on his shoulders. Well, those aren't necessarily supposed to be on like the front of his shoulders, but more like on the back and the upside of his shoulders. And so if you've seen like some of those fancy suits, think again about Castlevania, right? So you have like Trevor Belmont, for example, one of those main characters in the Netflix shows. Some of those suits always have like those fancy like gold plated like a bit like decorations on the back, so you can't really see it here. That's why I drew those little accents in to emphasize it. So on the back of a suit you would have like this golden stripe on like where the shoulders would be. And then underneath he'd have like some fancy like gold decorations. You could imagine like those Baroque style furniture things that have like those fancy gold like little splatters and stuff. And then in the middle he would have like maybe like a golden cross, kind of like a family crest on his back, with like a Jesus Christ cross in gold as well. So it would look pretty fancy, pretty cool. Then for his face, you can tell he's supposed to be like a stereotypical white guy, like Eric, blonde hair, blue eyes, and then he has some scars from maybe accidentally whipping himself in the face when learning the whip, because it's a pretty dangerous weapon. I should have maybe added some eye scars as well, but whatever. Okay, and then he has like what's the English word for this color? I forgot the color, like kind of like skin color, like wood color pants. Then he has some brown, like fancy shoes. Then actually, I tried something different. I mixed in a silver ring with his golden attire as well, because I just thought it'd be interesting to do that for once. And then he has like his whip, and on the end there's like a golden accent. And then you can tell it's just a regular whip for now, and so like it's dangling like where his feet would be. And it, like I said, it could magically extend and stuff. I already explained all of that, blah blah blah. He has a belt underneath the suit that you can see where he puts his other whip, and this whip goes like here or something. Or maybe opposites, because like samurais do this thing where they keep like their sword on the other piece, the other part of their pants, because then when they want to like draw it with their hands, they have to go like that, and then they just so they like whoosh, they yeah they how do you explain that today? They whip it out this way instead of having to go like this. Now they can just do this. So I think that's most of the things I had to say about Whipmaster. Um, and I just thought it was a really fun idea. So I hope you did as well. Don't cancel me for making this video, please. No, 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 I do not like that. Okay, so that's everything I had to say, and I hope you liked the idea for the hero, and see you in the next one. Bye, bitch.